Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. And guys, we've missed 2 days here on the channel. I do sincerely apologize. I was not able to have videos go up on those days. You have no idea the amount of stuff I've been dealing with over the last couple of days. I just had a 9-hour drive back to town yesterday, but we're here now, and we're going to continue with the daily uploads, guys. Bitcoin is currently trading around $7,650 and change, and quite a lot has happened since we last uploaded a topical daily technical analysis video here to the channel. And in today's video, I want to discuss what all has happened in the 3 days that I've been gone and where I think Bitcoin is going to be going here over the next couple of weeks. Do some medium-term technical analysis because there are some very important patterns that we need to look at, considering they are so very important to Bitcoin and its market. So guys, if you do enjoy today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell, guys. It does help out the channel when you do that, and I would be appreciative if you did it. But with one more further ado, I want to say hello, Lindsay, in case she's watching this. Now let's go ahead and get right on into it. The first thing that I want to discuss is what has happened here over these last 3 days that I've been gone and not uploading videos. If we go down here to the hourly chart, what we're going to find is that Bitcoin over these last few days broke bullish. We were here for this. It broke bullish, and it started trading sideways. Right around here is where I left, and during that time, Bitcoin entered a consolidation pattern here, a triangle pattern. And of course, this one resulted from bullish price action, so more likely than not, we would have expected Bitcoin to break to the upside. Of course, that's not what happened. This was a sideways pennant and actually slightly trending to the downside, a little bit more than it was trending to the upside. So there was a slightly higher chance that we would actually break bearish here. That's what we did. Bitcoin broke bearish, and in the last couple of hours, over the last day or so, Bitcoin came down here and entered another triangle pattern, something like this, but Bitcoin has ultimately fallen out of that, moved into this downwards facing, descending trading channel that we're now at the moment breaking bullish out of. That's pretty much what's happened here over the last couple of days. Nothing really all that major. Definitely developments, definitely develops the longer term charts, as we're going to talk about here on the hourly chart in a second, but nothing really major. It's not like we saw Bitcoin run to $10,000 and we missed that while I was gone. Just a little bit of consolidation, mainly over the course of the last 3 days. But during that consolidation, it's become more and more apparent that Bitcoin is entering a much longer term chart formation, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these lines here so that we can see it a little bit better. This right here would be a bit of a longer term. This right here would be a bit of a longer term pennant with a downtrend right there and an uptrend right there. And if you guys know anything about me, you will know that I absolutely love my pennants. They're very fun to trade, they're very simple to trade, and also, most importantly, they are very profitable to trade. As you guys can see, we have a downtrend of resistance right there and an uptrend of support right there. These two will be converging somewhere over here towards the beginning of next month. Bitcoin has another 2 weeks or so before it actually has to break bullish or bearish out of this pennant. Definitely a lot of time for Bitcoin to have the little war between the bulls and the bears we always do before a breakout on a pennant like that comes. But Bitcoin, we'll talk about what I think is going to do here over the next couple of days in a minute. But Bitcoin is going to continue trading around in this pattern, and I don't think that we're necessarily going to break either bearish or bullish in the next week or so, but we're going to keep trading around in here, and eventually it's going to come a time where we are going to either break bullish or bearish. Let's extend these out and move these around a little bit. Something like that and something like this as an uptrend of support. We're going to see a breakout come sometime. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that this uptrend is not very well defined yet. It could very well be redefined, so the uptrend looks something more like this. Maybe the bottom's in right now. Maybe it looks more something like this. However it looks, that uptrend is going to come somewhere around there. Bitcoin is going to continue moving around in here, and eventually we're going to have a breakout. Now, talking about breakout possibilities, guys, this is actually what would be considered a bull pennant because it came from a bullish rally. If you guys are in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and you've watched the videos on pennants and wedges, you will know that when Bitcoin has a major rally like this and bumps around in here for a little while, it's more often than not going to break bullish. Not bearish, it's more often than not going to break bullish. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin was bullish moving into this pennant. Bitcoin traded sideways during the pennant and consolidated, coiled up like a spring, built all that tension, and then when that tension is released, normally it's going to be released in the same direction as it was coiled up in. If you have a spring and you push it down on the ground and you release that spring, the spring isn't going to push straight through the floor. It's going to bounce off the ground and continue moving to the upside. That's what markets do when they move into pennants. They act like springs. They coil up. They build that tension. So watch out for a potential breakout like that coming over these next couple of weeks as it has to do with this pennant. Now let's zoom back in and do a little bit more shorter term technical analysis on Bitcoin before we actually zoom back out and do our final recap of what's going on in the market and where I think the market is going here over these next couple of days. And the one thing that I saw when I first looked at this market after being away for a while was this little zone of support and or resistance right here. This zone is looking to be very important, and it also happens to line up just above $7,400, which is another level that we've talked about extensively here on the channel. If we go back on the 4-hourly chart, we can see why $7,400 is so important. It was actually a major level of support and resistance all the way back over here in 2018. We had a little bit of a support right there. Support, resistance, breakthrough, support, resistance. There's a lot of trading around $7,400. It's an important level, and it does look to be the base of a zone of support for Bitcoin at the moment anyway. And as we can see, the top of that zone has also seemingly been defined as right around $7,575, close to $7,800. Right up here is first defined by this top, and then we have our Bitcoin coming down to a bottom right here, which this is actually a very bullish thing. You know, in the long time ago in the market, Bitcoin did something as it relates to the level of $3,000. I want to draw an analogy to that, where Bitcoin came up here and tested $3,000 as a level of resistance. And then after Bitcoin came up here, it came down, saw Bitcoin have a pullback for a little while, and then we broke through $3,000, saw 3K be set as a level of support, and never again has Bitcoin gone all the way down to $3,000 all the way. We've come close. We haven't gone all the way back down to it. Bitcoin set $3,000 as a level of support and never went back down to test it. And that's kind of interesting. You see that happen sometimes in markets. I should make a video about this where resistance turns into support, and that's a very bullish long-term indicator. That's kind of what we've seen here, is about how Bitcoin used this as resistance. Now we're using it as support. If Bitcoin can set this level of right around $7,600 as a level of support, I'm going to consider that very bullish for Bitcoin. And it doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't seem like a very major development in Bitcoin. But the point here is that Bitcoin's lows would then be higher than previous Bitcoin highs, which during this consolidation pattern, we need all of the signals we can get as to who's stronger, the bulls or the bears. And that's a great way to get one, is where are the bottoms, where are the highs? Bitcoin, of course, has been making pretty much similar highs up here, just below $8,200 with a very slight downtrend. We're kind of having to cheat the chart to get this downtrend on this consolidation pattern. But the fact that Bitcoin would potentially be setting bottoms down here above its previous highs is a very bullish thing. Now, with all that in mind, with the importance of this longer-term pennant here on Bitcoin and the likelihood that it will break bullish, and also what we've just talked about how Bitcoin is using previous highs as new support, where does that leave Bitcoin, and where is Bitcoin going to be headed here over these next couple of weeks? Most importantly for the topic of this video, is Bitcoin breaking bullish or bearish out of this pennant? Well, there are some technical indicators I want to look at before we come to that conclusion, and a lot of them actually show up on the daily chart. If we come out here to the daily chart, what we're going to find is that the daily MACD is not looking all that great. As we can see, Bitcoin has just had a bearish cross on the MACD, and a lot of times what you'll see is before a breakout on a pennant like this, you will see a cross on the MACD. A lot of times that cross will tell you which direction you're going to break. Now, to be fair, MACD is way up here, really far away from the histogram. This is the most bullish Bitcoin's MACD has been. This is the farthest away from the histogram it's been since the end of the 2017 bull run. So, of course, we were likely to see a correction. Of course, we were likely to see a bearish cross. This doesn't surprise me. What does concern me is the bearish movement that is starting in the MACD and a couple of other things. One of the other things would have to do with Heikin-Ashi here on the daily chart. As you can see, it is currently red. There is no wick on the top of Heikin-Ashi right here. I can't get into why that is important. If you're in CT2A and you've watched the Heikin-Ashi video, you will know why that's important. But the point here is that Heikin-Ashi is currently red. This could very easily change. Heikin-Ashi fluctuates a whole lot when you're in a pennant pattern, so this doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, but it is something to keep an eye out for. One of the last things I want to talk about here has to do with the RSI. If we go ahead and get rid of this level here, that flat level right there is actually important on the weekly chart, not the daily chart, then what we're going to find is that Bitcoin is still maintaining that uptrend of support here on the RSI. But if Bitcoin moves a whole lot further to the downside, even honestly to the downside just a couple $100 and sideways for a couple days, as Bitcoin comes down here and just even comes down to test support right here, all the way down to this uptrend, even just doing that could potentially cause the daily RSI to come down below that uptrend of support, and that would be very bad. Guys, this uptrend of support has been in motion for the entire year. It's literally the first levels of support are back over here in early December of 2018. Bitcoin has been respecting this uptrend for quite some time. And of course, as we've talked about in past, Bitcoin is of course eventually going to have to break this. That is the nature of these things. Bitcoin's RSI can't go above 100, but this uptrend most certainly can. So eventually there's going to be a break here. What I'm interested to see is how Bitcoin reacts to this uptrend of support. Does it bounce off of it and continue moving higher with Bitcoin in tow and Bitcoin starts a breakout? or does Bitcoin break bearish here? Really, this RSI level right here isn't so much for predicting which direction Bitcoin is going to be. It's more for exacerbating a downtrend or instigating and igniting and fueling an uptrend should Bitcoin break bullish. This right here is going to be important for after Bitcoin breaks bullish, although it may end up meaning that Bitcoin breaks bearish if this does go ahead and break down below this uptrend of support. If that does happen, that could instigate Bitcoin falling to the downside. So guys, with all that in mind, what is Bitcoin going to do? We have all these technical indicators. We have all this information about what pennants do. We have this information about zones of support and resistance and Bitcoin making higher lows. All of this mumbo jumbo that I've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. What does it all mean? What's the conclusion we're coming here to, guys? Here's the point. Bitcoin has been very, very, very bullish for the last several months. Let's come to the 4-hourly chart and measure how many days Bitcoin has been in rally. It's nearly 100 now. All the way back here at February, all the way up to here. It's over 100 actually. I've been gone for 3 days and I missed that. Bitcoin has been bullish and in state of rally for over 100 days now. And as you guys know, the trend tends to be your friend. And the trend right now is very bullish. Also, we have a bullish pennant right here. Those do tend to break bullish. We do also see that Bitcoin is making higher lows above its previous levels of resistance. That's very bullish. Likewise, Bitcoin's momentum, I already said momentum, but likewise, Bitcoin's sentiment is very, very bullish. You don't really want to bet against the sentiment, especially when you've just gone and entered a bull market earlier on in the same month. Bitcoin has been in a bull market for 2 weeks, guys, and people are ridiculously bullish about that. We've made predictions in the past talking about whether or not Bitcoin was going to break bullish or bearish, and we've been wrong on those sometimes because we weren't giving enough credit to the bulls and to the exuberance that a lot of people are feeling. So I want to be very careful in saying that there may be a downtrend in the near-term future. I want to be very careful by saying that Bitcoin may move to the downside because it might. Bitcoin might break bearish here. Bitcoin might break this uptrend of support. But at the same time, guys, Bitcoin could very easily break this. But which one is more likely? Is Bitcoin going to break bullish or is Bitcoin going to break bearish? I'll tell you what my gut is telling me because right now the technicals are saying it can go either way with a slight bullish bias. That's what the technicals are telling me, is that it's probably 55 to 60% likely that Bitcoin breaks bullish here. Here's what my gut is telling me, guys, and maybe my gut is wrong. Your gut will sometimes be wrong. It takes a long time to train. That's something I talk about in CT2A. And definitely don't have the most experienced gut in the world. I'm by no means claiming that. Here's what my gut is telling me anyway, for what it's worth. Bitcoin is probably going to break bullish here. The reason I say that is because Bitcoin just entered a bull market. There's a whole lot of exuberance. People are jumping out of their seats. They're flipping out. Guys, you can look at the statistics on this YouTube channel to get an idea of how many new people are entering the space, and they all want to get a cut of the pie. I know that I am accumulating a ton of Bitcoin. I'm part of the buying pressure. I'm one of the bulls. I'm putting a ton of money into the Bitcoin market right now for myself and for other people. I am helping to propel the market to the upside, and a lot of other people are too. You could almost say that we're in a bubble right now, guys, and eventually it is going to pop. Eventually this bubble is going to pop, and we're going to see a downtrend, and Bitcoin is going to break bearish. Eventually that's going to happen, and there is a decent chance that that does happen here soon. I want you guys to be very aware and very safe. You should have stop losses below this uptrend of support, and probably actually below $7,000, because this uptrend of support isn't very well defined now. You should have stop losses down here just below 7K to protect yourself in case Bitcoin does move to the downside. But also I think it'd be irresponsible for us to ignore how bullish the market is, how bullish some of the technicals are. Some of them are bearish, but how bullish some of the technicals are, and how bullish the overall sentiment in the market is. I think it would be irresponsible for us to ignore that. There's a good chance that Bitcoin runs straight to $10,000 after it breaks bullish here. I want you guys to realize that. So while I want you to be very, very careful, and be careful with your stop losses, be careful with how much money you invest, only invest what you're willing to lose, all of that mumbo jumbo, all that crap that everybody always says, remember to be safe. Also remember that we are at the beginning of a bull market and there is a lot of opportunity. So in times like these, guys, I'll tell you what I like to do when it's harder to trade the shorter term moves, when it's harder to make swing trades and you're not totally sure what the market's going to do. Here's what I like to do. I like to say, forget trading. I'm going to work on my investments. I'm going to dollar cost average into the market. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've been just throwing money into the market, dollar cost averaging for the long term. I buy Bitcoin and I have no idea when I'm going to sell it. It's not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year. It's not going to be the year after that. It's going to be a long time from now. I have no clue when I'm going to sell it, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I dollar cost average into the market. So sometimes, guys, the best move is not to play. Have you guys ever heard of the artificial intelligence that was taught to play Tetris? Well, if you guys know anything about Tetris, what you will realize is that Tetris is actually an unbeatable game. It's impossible to win Tetris because the blocks will continue to fall. There is no stopping the Tetris pieces coming down. Eventually, you're going to lose. An artificial intelligence was trained to play Tetris, and eventually, instead of losing, that artificial intelligence pressed pause, because you don't win if you press pause, but if you don't press pause, you will lose. And sometimes the best game to play, the best decision to make, is to not play at all. And sometimes that's what you want to do in the market. Sometimes the best trade to make is to not make a trade at all. Sometimes the best trade to make is to sit back and use the movement as a learning experience. Learn without having your own money and emotions invested in the market what will happen in certain situations like this. And that's probably what I'm going to do with this one, guys. I may have a small position waiting for Bitcoin to break bullish. If Bitcoin breaks bullish, I'll have a buy order up here, and I'll always have my stop losses, of course. But sometimes, like I said, the best trade to make is no trade at all. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to press pause, sit back, and watch the market, see how it unfolds, and use it as a learning experience rather than a profiting experience. Anyway, guys, that's one of the main things I wanted to talk about in today's video. I wanted to discuss which direction Bitcoin was going to break out. The conclusion is I think it's going to break bullish. But, guys, right now, with how exuberant we've been, but also with how long we've been exuberant, this really could go either way. I think it's slightly more likely we break bullish, but I hope you guys did get some good value out of today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, hit that like button. I know you guys love to smash that like button. Go down there, destroy that like button, punch a hole through your screen. I'm going to bro fist you right where the like button is. Go ahead, hit that like button. Smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll be updated every time a new video comes out, guys, because we're going to be covering the video. We're going to be covering the market every single day here for the rest of the year. I hope not to miss any more days because I have a travel kit being put together, so I don't have to miss any more days while I'm out of town. Either way, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I'm so glad to be back, and I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.